Hey everyone, Jason here from Enthusiast Gaming, coming to you through PlayStation Enthusiast. Now today we're going to go over 15 launch titles for the PlayStation VR. I got my demo unit here. PlayStation sent us 15 codes to try out. I'm going to review all of them within 5 minutes, or close enough. So let's get right into it. Let's see what's good and what's bad. Batman Arkham VR was my first full VR game experience, and it did not disappoint. I was absolutely blown away by how immersive this game was and how intuitive VR could be once you use the PlayStation Move controllers. Interacting with objects in my surroundings felt natural and really intuitive. It's an experience that's very hard to describe unless you've tried it. Unfortunately, the game is short, clocking under 1 hour, and mainly focuses on solving puzzles. The puzzles are fun, and more bonus gameplay is unlocked after the first playthrough, but I can't imagine anyone playing this game for more than one sitting. That said, if you want to show anyone what VR can offer, this is the game to show them. Next up is Battlezone VR, which instantly felt like one of those immersive arcade experiences. The game can be played sitting or standing and uses the DualShock controller. You're basically sitting in a tank and have two cannons you can shoot from using the left and right trigger. The goal of the game is to destroy all enemy tanks, turrets, and other targets. It's simple, immersive fun, and thanks to some smart programming, the game shouldn't induce motion sickness. This is one title I'd recommend picking up. Our first loser on the list is Harmonix Music VR. This game just isn't worth your money unless you want to sit around a trippy virtual world, which is the VR equivalent to the now classic default Windows Media Player video screen of the early 2000s. The game does have a few distractions, such as letting you draw any shapes you like in a colorful, pulsating world, but that's it. The rest is just sit there and watch the horizon as you listen to the music. Another one of my favorites on the list, Job Simulator, is just that. It simulates various real-world jobs in a toon-like setting. This one is best played standing up, and you do need the PlayStation Move controllers. Each level or job will have a task board which indicates what you need to do next at your job. The bulk of the gameplay is basically interacting with objects around you and completing the tasks on the board, but it's all done with a lighthearted, fun vibe to it. Get a few friends to watch you play and you're in for a fun ride. PlayStation VR Worlds is like the beginner's game for VR experiences, or like the Nintendo Land for Wii U. Oh right, very few people actually played that. Anyways, there are 5 experiences and each one offers different ways to play and shows off the different VR playstyles. In one experience, you just sit there and look around, whereas another will have you using PlayStation Move controllers to interact with objects and shoot guns. It's a good assortment of games and a nice way to try different VR experiences all in one place. Be warned that some experiences, like the one where you're flying down a hill, might induce motion sickness. Next we have SuperHyperCube, which wasn't too bad, but it didn't really stand out either. You can play this game sitting or standing, and it just requires the DualShock controller. VR is more so used as an enhanced experience here than as a key experience. Basically, you're going to be turning this cubic shape in all sorts of directions to get it to fit through the hole in the plane that's coming at you. Every time you succeed, a bunch of cubes latch onto your existing shape, making it more complex and harder to fit in the next hole. Personally, I'd rather play this type of game without VR. Tumble VR is at the top of my list for fun PSVR games. You do need a PlayStation Move controller for this, which will act as a wand of sort. The game is broken up into dozens of mini-games, and challenges range from stacking objects on a small plane to placing mines to best blow up a stack of blocks. It's simple, fun, intuitive, and makes great use of VR. If puzzle games are your thing, then I highly recommend Tumble VR. Plus, you don't have to pick up any mess after your tower falls apart. The only horror game on my list, and thank God because I do not like this genre. I won't lie, the first time I played this game, I had the VR headset mounted on my head instead of in front of my eyes while playing off the TV. Only reason for that is because I hate jump scares. For controls, you can use the DualShock controller, but it's best played with the PlayStation Move. The game is an on-rail shooter in which you ride a slow roller coaster through a creepy carnival shooting targets and killer clowns. The game starts off innocent enough, but it doesn't take too long for the game to try and scare you by shutting off lights and having random killer clowns pop up and attack you. If it wasn't for the horror element, I would have loved this game more, as the shooting aspect is quite fun. But hey, if you're a horror fan, you're sure to enjoy this. Wayward Sky was such a treat to play. It's played using 2 PlayStation Move controllers and gives the player the role of an all-seeing being and a girl searching for her father. Gameplay is mainly puzzle based, and while you're in the all-seeing mode, you can direct the girl to move and interact with objects. Once she interacts with objects, you go into the girl's perspective and actually use your virtual hands to manipulate objects to solve puzzles. The story is fun and well paced, keeping players engaged, and the cel-shaded graphics adds even more charm to the game. Thumper is an interesting rhythm game where VR isn't necessarily needed. The game has you controlling a metal-like bug that's shooting forward on a rail towards a void. The player has to jump over obstacles to the beat and dash right or left on cue. This is another game I would rather just play without VR, and you can. I did find that the longer I played, the more the game would list to the side, and since there's no reset view button like most other VR games, I had to keep readjusting how I was sitting to realign the view. The VR was just annoying here. Otherwise, Thumper is a fun game. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is the best multiplayer VR game I have played to date. The player wearing the headset will see a bomb with several different puzzle modules on it. The second player will need the guide, which is found online, to help decipher each puzzle on the bomb. The two players have to constantly communicate as each holds only part of the solution. Add in a 5-minute timer before the bomb blows up, and you've got a frantically fun game to play. My closest call was cutting the last wire with 6 seconds left before the bomb would go off. We were sweating like it was a real bomb. Can't recommend this game enough. It's a must-own if you have PSVR. Rez delivers on the mech enthusiast dream, letting players experience what it would be like to control one. The game is played with the DualShock controller, and everything starts off fun enough when you're in the hangar doing target practice. However, the moment your captain unlocks your legs and lets you jump with your mech, it's instant motion sickness. Myself and a friend got really sick once we were able to jump and couldn't play the game for more than 30 minutes. After feeling so nauseous, it's hard to want to pick up the game again. Expect to use your head a lot in Headmaster, quite literally. The game is all about headbutts, and you're going to do a ton of them. The gameplay has you standing or sitting in front of a net, and soccer balls are launched at you, requiring you to headbutt them to hit various targets. The whole game is wrapped into a fun little narrative akin to the original Portal. It's a fun game with a good amount of content, but that constant headbutting motion does get a bit repetitive, so don't expect to play this game for more than 30 minutes or so. Oh, and do plan for a neck massage afterwards. Rez Infinite has an awesome soundtrack and easy gameplay, but very little challenge. The game is a VR shoot 'em up in which you look at your targets to aim and hit or hold X to fire. Experiencing the world in VR is cool and the music really pumps you up, but I found myself bored after passing the 30-minute mark and not seeing any increase in challenge from the game. It seems literally impossible to die if you just try to play the game. Finally, I cared very little for Here They Lie. It's more of an atmospheric thriller type of game. You're wandering around an empty world not quite sure what will happen next. The sound effects are very well done in the game, adding a sense of eeriness throughout. You play the game with the DualShock controller, moving your character around with the joystick. What's absolutely annoying is whenever you move left, right, or back, the screen flashes black as though the world isn't seamless. It's very disorienting, and I felt sick with this control scheme. It's not a game for everyone, but if you like suspense and mystery, this might be for you. If you can stomach the motion sickness, that is. And that concludes our quick review of some of the PSVR launch titles. For more coverage on everything PlayStation, do keep it to PlayStation Enthusiast.